Hello, welcome to the Medium Games 10 semifinals, Chatteteo versus Koehni. I am joined by the man,
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
and we've got a very light allies board to begin with. Herb Gatherer, which may or may not see some play.
I'm gonna guess it probably will because I feel like with allies just out, people overplay the allies right now just because they're fun and interesting. I could be wrong, but I feel like if there's a chance to go for allies, people are gonna take it just because of how new it is.
Yeah, I mean, we have Wolf Den, which, as we discussed off the air before this started, Wolf Den interacts weirdly with the split piles. It's somewhat difficult to control, but I don't think that's worth considering this early in the game. Um, Transmogrify Cargo Ship, I think, is my preferred opening here.
That does seem like they might both be going that way. You did see one player get the transmography and one with the cargo ship, so it does make sense.
Especially if you draw Transmogrify turn 3, Cargo Ship turn 4. It's just like a huge leg up. Um, you can
Yeah,
Transmogrify. Well, I guess
looks
Transmogrify
like
turn
both
3
players are on
and 4
the
is
same
nice.
vein as you. They
Um,
they both did open that, so
yeah. I guess you want to draw them both turn 3, I guess. So then you Cargo Ship something and also have the Transmogrified thing, and you can probably buy Border Village Butcher, perhaps.
well, neither one of them got that, so
Yeah.
no lucky draws for either player.
So our draw here is Royal Blacksmith, pretty much, and then Civil.
Yeah, the
Civil.
hard part with Royal Blacksmith is the draw essentially is with Border Village. You can't use Border Village to get the Royal Blacksmith. So that's the one thing that's a little bit interesting is that you can't combo the Border Village into the draw card. That does make it a little more awkward than if you had a more traditional draw card that doesn't require debt.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder if you want to try to use something like Dismantle to thin coppers, which feels terrible, but sometimes you gotta. I guess you could butcher coppers into. No?
Yeah, you can't even butcher coppers into anything.
But I feel like you can build a bigger
And
engine
it's
into Royal
not
Blacksmith.
butcher's not optional. Butcher's not optional, right? So you can't like not gain the card. You can't just trash a copper and not gain anything, right?
Correct. You can not trash anything, but once you've trashed something, you have to gain. I mean, you play Butcher twice. The first time you trash nothing, the second time you turn copper into cargo ship or
That's right.
something.
Just you do still get the two coffers. Yeah,
You
but
could
that
build
still
maybe
seems a little awkward.
the Border Village Conspirator engine with butchers and T-Mod cargo ships, and then just have Royal Blacksmith and accept that you're gonna dump a bunch of coppers into your discard pile every turn,
So,
in order to draw all those conspirators. That does not seem unreasonable to me. Um, they're going.
double butcher for Chatteteo.
There's a lot of butchers. Um,
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Two butchers does seem a little heavy. They both also did go with the herb gatherer. Um,
yeah, I'm. My thought on that is Herb Gatherer can correct for the bad shuffles triggered by Royal Blacksmith. So, like, if you play a Royal Blacksmith, discard a bunch of coppers, then play some conspirators and trigger a shuffle with all the coppers on top, Herb Gatherer can just clean that up at the end.
that's a good thought.
Um, but both players, I mean, there's one village bought and 5 terminals. So,
Yeah, I mean, you see Coney's hand here, right? He's got three terminals and couldn't play any of them. Trashing the cargo ship to get a border village. I guess that maybe makes sense. I mean, you could just rebuy the cargo ship if you really wanted. Conspirator
yeah,
seems kind of odd here. I'm not sure I like Conspirator just because they don't have that many actions to be able to play yet.
it's the deck you want to be building, but I agree it requires somewhat good draw order to make use of. Um, this is a spot for Coney where I would look to get Royal Blacksmith, I think. Um, and I'm not quite sure what
But
Chatteteo is considering here. I
I don't
assume
know
he
how
was.
Coney's gonna. I don't know if it's Coney have the terminal space or the actions yet to make Royal Blacksmith work. I mean, he has a lot of terminals.
Yeah,
And then Conspirator, which is essentially a terminal at this point.
that's fair. Maybe they should have bought Snowy over a Harbinger last turn.
Maybe.
Um, so this could be a state into.
Or even just gain Snowy instead of Conspirator would have also been fine.
Yeah, I think this wants to be a state into Snowy. play the Snowy, and then play the Herb Gatherer. The nice thing about Butcher and T-Mog is you can continue to gain things in your turn while you're doing the paying off the debt from Royal Blacksmith. So like if you draw a debt and just have to pay off debt, you can still get your Transmogrify into play. You can still butcher some things around.
Yeah, that is true. Turns. Butcher, that's a good point. The extra butcher with the Blacksmith. Yeah, Kubu says he's shocked no Snowies are gained. Yeah, it definitely seems like a board. Like Snowy definitely seemed more valuable than that.
So to me, this should be Snowy.
I don't think Silver is very good here.
Snowy plus Blacksmith to me.
No Blacksmith yet.
Right. So Snowy, people I think feel like Snowy Village is a trap card, if that makes sense. They're afraid to buy it because of the downside.
But I mean, here, like, even if you end up getting enough borders, you don't need it later. You can just trash it with Copper, and it's a pretty good Butcher. It's a pretty good card to trash. There we go. We do see a
it's
Snowy
the only.
now.
It's the plus buy as well. So you just play it near the end of the turn, and at the end of your turn, you're basically going to play Snowy, then Butcher, then Herb Gatherer, or something like that every turn. So, and yeah, you can always Transmogrify it into Conspirator, or I mean, there's all sorts of
cool things so I agree, but it looks like Chatteteo did grab a Snowy now. The question is if anyone's going to go for Royal Blacksmith or how soon.
Yeah. So Royal Blacksmith I was going to add is the other card that I think people find to be a trap card, where they think, oh, it's going to discard all these coppers. Koehni is doing this backwards. I expect an Indu incoming here. You don't need to trash the first one. And then you trash the second one into a...
You called it.
into a 4-cost. One more Indu?
Probably just going to do one more, yeah.
You have an extra copper. I mean, I'd rather have 1 4-cost than 2 estates in my deck, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yep, there we go. He saw it. It's easy to see that a little too late.
Really? This was not expected.
What did he do? He trashed a Butcher into a border village? I mean, I guess you could just gain another Butcher and you just get a free border village, but I still think I'd rather trash a Copper into a 4 than... I mean, I guess it's not terrible. I mean, he did get a Conspirator out of it, so I guess he ended up getting border village Conspirator versus trashing 1 Copper into a 4. So it's not as bad as I think it looked initially.
I mean, if we trash the Copper into a Conspirator, we can then buy a Royal Blacksmith. So basically, we have 1 fewer Copper in deck at the cost of a Royal Blacksmith, and maybe a Coffer. I feel like the Royal Blacksmith's an important card here.
I think so, but it seems like neither players, at least at this point, realize.
The thing is, you play the Royal Blacksmith at some point. You discard 5 coppers, but you still have your Harbingers and your Conspirators and your Snowies and your border villages to draw through those, and then the Herb Gatherer can just, fix the shuffle at the end of every turn.
Yeah, I think Chatteo's in a position now. He has 3 border villages now, so I think and a Snowy, so I think he's definitely in a position to get the Royal Blacksmith now, I would hope.
Yeah, and again, you can slowly thin the coppers, you can just draw them back, or, they're coppers, they're not very good. You trash them if you could, and Royal Blacksmith, if you squint real hard, is if you squint really hard, Royal Blacksmith is kind of a trashing card.
It's no stretch, but yeah, I mean, if you have enough draw and stuff, and if you have enough villages, I think the main thing about Blacksmith to me is making sure you have the villages to be able to take advantage of the draw, and it definitely seems like
I don't like
both
this,
do at this point.
Sorceress stuff at all. It does work well with Harbingers. You can know what the top card is, but unless you draw them at the top of your shuffle.
Yeah.
This is a sad draw for Chatteteo, but the decks still have a lot of coppers in them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess neither one really wanted to spend the time butchering coppers, which...
Yeah, so I said it backwards. You could have had... For 1 coffer previously, Koehni could have had Royal Blacksmith, could have had -1 copper, +1 Royal Blacksmith, and instead they got a coffer. So if you gave me that choice, and debt, and debt, I guess debt is an important variable there. But I think that's
Yeah.
to me like I'm able to thin the
Well,
copper
they got the
and
border village too, right? So
yeah, but
it's
eh, they've
but
got a bunch
yeah,
of
I mean
border
at this point
villages.
they both have plenty of villages where Royal Blacksmith is
Huh.
should be
We
bought.
could have definitely trashed a copper there. I guess they're just not playing with Royal Blacksmiths, and so trashing coppers is
But
not on the
like even
radar.
so, why would you not want to like? Why would you not trash a copper on that second one unless you're planning to use the coffers?
To get
Like
a
unless
border
you're planning on using
village.
all four to buy a border village here, which I'd much rather just trash a copper and
Save
and
two
gain
coffers for next turn.
whatever.
Save two coins. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they are going. I do think. I wonder. I think players, especially the mid tier, I think maybe overvalue Border Village sometimes. Like Border Village is a really good card, but I'm not sure it's like really as good here as they seem to be thinking it is.
Butcher Border Village is quite nice.
That is true.
I think
That's true
just
because then later in the game,
basically all the things that are quite nice here are just made a little bit nicer by Royal Blacksmith. A little bit to quite a bit more nicer by Royal Blacksmith is my thinking. And I know I often miss Royal Blacksmith entirely, and I just won't look at it. And my opponent will get it and be drawing deck, and I'm like, why can't I draw deck?
yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I'd buy Royal Blacksmith very much. This game is definitely making me think that I should pay more attention to it.
I mean, it's expensive. The debt is gonna hurt, but I feel like the first time you draw it, you're gonna draw all of your good cards. So.
And at this point, like, there's no real worry about actions at this point. So
It's also like you're not going to draw
Without the
5
border
coppers with it
villages.
because your deck is.
But it's also very nice with Conspirator because you're basically just getting 2 money for every Conspirator. Now you know you'll be able to play them.
Yeah. And the deck is thick enough that you're not playing the Royal Blacksmith and drawing 5 coppers and discarding them. You're drawing maybe two coppers and 1 copper in hand often when you're playing it. So we've got 8 here. This could be Border Village, Conspirator, Royal Blacksmith. I'm hesitant to end the turn with that much debt given the pile
double
situation.
Conspirator. Yeah, I mean, I think as much as I think we agree Royal Blacksmith is good. I don't think we're gonna see a Royal Blacksmith bought this game. I think that's pretty clear at this point.
Yeah, I mean the game's 1 turn away from
pile.
winning.
Yeah. Do you have to? I mean, do you think about duchies here with these border villages just to gain some victory points?
You got to get 2.
It's always a tricky balance to me. Is when do you start thinking about getting duchies off border villages?
You've got to trash that Herb Gatherer there. It's a unique.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to get another one.
Oh yeah, with the Wolf Den. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh boy.
That's another unique, isn't it? Because he didn't have one yet, did he, Sybil?
Yeah, so we've got to go Butcher into Border Village. I take another
this
Butcher
might
here
just be game.
Try to win. Yeah.
Do you think Chatteteo could win this? I don't know.
They got to get a real lucky draw, but I think they have this 4-point VP lead, and they're gonna hit Province here, which I guess you take.
Yeah, at this point you take. I mean, it's only remember Province is only 3 victory points this turn.
Yeah, but if you get another turn, then you get another Province, then it's worth, 9.
Yeah, and your opponent's not gonna. I don't think anyone's gonna double Province this game. So
seems pretty unlikely.
Your opponent's not gonna be able to catch up either. So
there's some nasty draws though, for Chatteteo. There's also the curse. If Sorceress gives out a single curse, that's worth -4.
Ooh, yeah.
Which could swing the game here. But without Border Villages, it's hard to gain that many Butchers. Chatteo's got a real tough decision next turn, which we can talk about when we get there. I guess you name Copper here.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 2 coppers left, so I don't know. Maybe Conspirator? You might have more Conspirators.
It looks like 1 Border Village, 3 coppers.
I guess Border Village.
And 4 Conspirators, so Conspirator name was also good. You got to take a Sybil, and You just check your uniques.
Does he have any other singles? I think Harbinger is unique.
They've
or
got
does he have
both
two?
Harbingers.
They've got both. Do they have cargo ship? I don't know. Maybe it was he unique silver. I
One of
guess
the
he might
cargo
have been.
ships is in the trash, so I think both players have one. What do we trash here is Chatteteo. I think Herb Gatherer into Snowy, sadly.
That's his only herb gatherer, right?
Yeah. So
So
that
yeah, I think if it's your only herb gatherer, I think you have to trash.
okay, that was their only estate as well. So
So that was kind of worked out kind of nice
so
actually.
I'm 100% looking to butcher
This actually worked
Herb
out
Gatherer.
really well because now you can. Because now I mean, well, I guess you won't get the actions like conspirators, but at least you can play them.
Conspirator, and then reassess. It seems
I mean,
very
I think
bad.
you trash your herb gatherer either way.
It seems very bad to play the butcher before the conspirators, though. Just as a general principle, you want to know what you want to, because like if we instead turn the herb gatherer into a cargo ship, we get more VP and we could afford a province here.
Well, it sounds like Chatteteo has both cargo ships, so that's not as
then we
big
could
a deal.
grab.
At least that's what Kubu says.
Oh.
But yeah, you're right. You probably could have gotten one more for a province here that he didn't get.
And the province is worth 9, and then this game's pretty out of reach.
Yeah, whereas now, I don't. Do you see have any other uniques? I don't think he has any uniques left.
I don't think so either.
He's at 0. Well, he's only at 3 VPs. So I think his only unique is province because he has no estates. So his 3 VPs is just.
You
6
could take the
province
duchy here. You could also take.
I mean, you don't want to. I mean, I guess you could just. The butcher's a little risky. But I don't. I guess
pretty.
Koehni gets the right.
The curse.
That's true, especially the curse. The curse could
-4
really
point
hurt.
curse, and they've got Sybil and Sorceress, and they drew them both right at the top of the shuffle. Oh no. Oh yeah, they did it right. They just played it really fast. Sybil is also quite interesting with Royal Blacksmith. In terms of
this might. So what does he need to win then? He needs province. He just needs to butcher something butcher a solo, and then
province
we'll get
is only
a 3,
worth
and then
3.
the province wins.
Okay,
yeah,
pause
but then
here.
butchering any of his solos.
Butcher border village into butcher border village into province by province.
Yeah, that's the one in hand.
Yeah, I think Chatteteo needed to buy province last turn, which meant just don't play the butcher first, play the butcher last, and then realize you have to gain unique.
Yeah.
You have to gain unique. Okay, that was game 1. Goes to
certainly interesting. I think there were a lot of interesting dynamics in that set, not even counting the Royal Blacksmith ones that neither player went for.
Yep, and we will come back with game 2.